There's no better time of year in the Commonwealth than the fall. So from the fall meet to football, and to break down the SEC race, we turn it over to track announcer Kurt Becker.
Welcome to Keeneland Racecourse and the annual SEC East Stakes. It will be the Georgia Bulldogs off their national championship appearance last year in post position number 2. Starting from gate 5, it will be the Florida Gators, and coming from gate 9, it's the Kentucky Wildcats. And they're off in the SEC East Stakes. It's the Georgia Bulldogs out quickly, followed by the Florida Gators. And a fast start as well for the Kentucky Wildcats as these three separate themselves from the pack. Around the first turn, Benny Snell powers Kentucky, and now the Wildcats try to close the gap on the Georgia Bulldogs, who are still ahead by 2 lengths. As they approach the final turn, it's Georgia in front, but Florida has lengthened its stride to stay close. And now here comes Kentucky on the charge and making a bid. Florida picks off opponents one by one, keeping pace with the Wildcats. And now they are bearing down on Georgia as the Bulldogs brace themselves for the challenge. It's Florida, it's Georgia, it's Kentucky as they roll into the home stretch in the SEC East Stakes.
From Keeneland to Kroger Field, welcome to SEC Saturday Night, presented by Holiday Inn Express. The Kentucky Wildcats 3-1 in the SEC, trying to bounce back from an overtime loss on the road to Texas A&M, and they are indeed ready here in the Bluegrass. Here's what the standings look like. Yes, it is a 3-horse race. Florida, Georgia, and Kentucky, all with big games coming up in the next couple of weeks to see who will represent the East in Atlanta. With that, we welcome you to Lex. Tom Hart alongside Jordan Rogers, Cole Kubelik down on the field. It's pretty simple. If you want to be a division champion and make it to Atlanta, you've got to prove that you belong, and that means if you're Kentucky, you've got to dominate tonight. Yeah, in order to close the gap with Florida and Georgia, they have to dominate in all 3 phases. One phase in particular I'm going to be watching tonight is the offense. I think they got away from their identity a little bit at Texas A&M. I want to see more balance, and I want to see a more commitment back to the run. Kentucky won the toss and deferred. For more on this squad and tonight's game, let's get you down to the sideline. Here's Cole.
Well, Tom, the offense that they'll face will have to do it without leading rusher Keyshawn Vaughn for the Vanderbilt Commodores. Did not make the trip tonight due to an injury. It's going to affect their offense greatly, heavily predicated with the play action off the run game. But Coach Mason told me before the game that will not change their strategy heading in. They know they have to run the football first and foremost to win this football game.
It was a fiery game last week for Vanderbilt against Florida. They held the lead in the first half, and then the Gators came storming back. See if Vandy can get off to another hot start under their senior QB, Kyle Shurmur. Jamari Wakefield starts at running back. Here's Wakefield. No room to run across the left side. Maybe finds a couple of yards. The ball came loose late, and they're going to spot it out there for an 8-yard gain.
Loose ball on the field.
So Kyle Shurmur's team catches a break with the ball on the turf, and it advanced another 6 yards. Shurmur comes from an athletic background. His dad, you know, is the head coach of the New York Giants. They're in Atlanta on Monday. His mom was a great swimmer at Michigan State, and Kyle himself was a swimmer in high school, along with being a record-setting quarterback. Now 2nd and 2. Here's Javion Marlowe. First touch of the game for Marlowe, and only his 2nd carry of the season for the freshman from Florida. And that's one of the guys they're expecting to step up in the absence of Keyshawn Vaughn.
Yeah, when we talked to Derek Mason this week, he mentioned Javion Marlowe was going to be a guy they wanted to get involved early, because what you miss with Keyshawn Vaughn is that home run hitting ability, the dynamic athlete. Yeah, you got Kari Blasingame who's a bruiser. Jamari Wakefield is versatile, but they need a dynamic athlete like Marlowe. You see Wakefield in there right now. He's the next best thing.
Shurmur's favorite receiver is Lipscomb. This time he goes out of the backfield to Wakefield, and he takes the midfield on a gain of 6. A lot of fields in that commentary. Wakefield may be the most effective guy when it comes to RPOs, and perhaps their best receiver out of the backfield outside of Vaughn.
Yeah, he's really the change-up back. He's actually one of the fastest guys on the team. He's been a little banged up at times this year, so his load has not been that full in any one game. but early on, trying to get him involved in the pass game, take some pressure off Elijah Lipscomb and Kyle Shurmur.
Lipscomb second in the league in receptions. He's off to the right side. They're going to keep it on the ground. Great move in the backfield by Jamari Wakefield, and he dances for 9. Let's take a look at tonight's starting lineup, brought to you by PNC and the Commodores on offense.
I've already seen a few running backs with Javion Marlowe, Jamari Wakefield, and Kari Blasingame, the former linebacker. He's the bruiser. They're going to need him to take a lot of carries tonight, control the ground game, and really shorten this game against a good defense in Kentucky.
Vandy had a hard time moving the ball after Vaughn left with his injury against Florida last week. But no problems to start this one. Jamari Wakefield again, and finally wrestled down by Mike Edwards. Gain of 6 that time. Here's how Kentucky lines it up. A very good defense, 11th in the country in total D.
And as much as we're talking about the running backs for Vandy, what they do best is throw the football. That means Josh Allen is going to be able to pin his ears back and get after Kyle Shurmur. He's one of the best pass rushers in the country. He's an NFL prospect, possibly a first-rounder, trying to solidify his game. He's going to be big on third down in passing situations.
They haven't slowed Vandy down yet. The Dores have run 5 plays, averaging 8 yards a play. And there's a big sack. It came after a bad snap, and for Josh Allen, his 7th sack of the season.
You're going to see Josh Allen working on the right tackle. Devin Cochran is going to fake. He's going to get inside. That's the thing. We talked to Josh Allen. He said, look, his speed rush is his best skill, but early in this game, he wanted to work the inside to set up the speed rush. And it looked like Devin Cochran expected him outside, lunged, got over his toes, and a great job by Allen to hit home.
That's the first half sack this season for Allen. Now 3rd and 12, looking for a screen, and it's spiked at his lineman's feet. There comes a flag. Intentional grounding. Adrian Middleton was all up in Shurmur's business.
Potential grounding. Offense number 14. Offense down, spot a foul, 4th down.
Ken Williamson, our referee tonight, and Shurmur might be saying, are you sure that wasn't roughing the passer?
I think they were trying to get to the running back here, Blasingame. You can see he throws in his direction. That's what you're taught as a quarterback, but there's a lineman there, and you knew he was trying to just throw that away. So good flag there.
Not good when your quarterback goes to the sideline with the rubber pellets on the back of his jersey.
Oh, but what a great job by Kentucky. Vandy had some success there, some misdirection in the backfield, couple big runs. That Kentucky defense bowed up on 3rd down, got him off the field.
Parker Tome is the punter for Vandy. David Bouvier, the senior from right here in Lexington, back to receive. Bouvier takes it at the 15. It was odd, 43-yard punt. None of the Kentucky guys even moved on the line. They think they heard a whistle?
They must have. Not one Kentucky player went to block, went down in coverage.
So here's Terry Wilson, the junior college transfer. He hadn't had his haircut since 8th grade. He said, we still keep it nice and tight. It looks good. Redshirted at Oregon, lost the job there, so transferred to junior college, and now took over as a starter early. There has been some inconsistency for Terry Wilson, but he was the first Kentucky QB to start 5-0 since Bill Ransdell did back in 1984. Also the first Kentucky QB since Ransdell to beat Florida. Big reason? That guy, Benny Snell Jr.
Hey, do not kick. Do not kick. Do not kick.
Is fair advice from Mr. Williamson. It's not kick. A little pushing and shoving after the end of that one.
You got to get those D linemen off you any way you can.
Snell leading the SEC in rushing, 117 yards a game. Wilson keeps it. And Terry Wilson lost the football. It is still loose and finally covered by Vandy. Wilson had a first down. Now Vandy gets it right back. Jordan Griffin with the fumble recovery.
Just about to sing the praises of Terry Wilson for a great read, a pull. Defensive end Dio Odangbo Winning on the running back. Great pull to get outside the pocket, but this is where, as a right-handed quarterback, your left hand, you're just not accustomed to holding that ball as tightly with your offhand. You got to get your second hand on it when you're running through traffic. Really good job by Dimitri Moore there, getting in and getting a hand on the ball.
Ladarius Wiley forced the fumble. Griffin recovered it for Kentucky. It's only their second turnover. Or probably the third turnover in the last 4+ games. Here's Wakefield. And another burst. Look, Vandy's offense looks fantastic to start this game.
And surprisingly running the football. That's one thing. How do you run the football against a good defensive front in Kentucky when Vanderbilt has not been successful running the football and your starting running back is out? You're going to see the tight ends, 1, 2, sometimes even 3 tight ends being used for Vandy to help create space and get some extra beef in there for running the football.
Derek Mason has a defensive background. Second down 3. See what Josh Allen 41 does. Bottom of your screen. Drops in coverage here. Shurmur complete to Lipscomb, but just short of the marker. That's going to leave 3rd and 1. And Coach Mark Stoops trying to rally his troops after their loss 2 weeks ago to Texas A&M. Been to consecutive bowls for the first time in 10 years here at Kentucky.
Vandy going with some tempo.
Straight ahead for the first down.
Love what Vanderbilt just did there. One thing they have struggled at this entire year has been 3rd and short. They're last in the country at converting 3rd and shorts, running the football there. A little bit of tempo to catch Kentucky off guard. Some motion. Great job by picking that one up.
Yeah, Vandy is the anti-tempo the majority of the time, Jordan. So a nice job catching that defense off guard.
Got to change things up when stuff's not working, especially on 3rd down.
They've used 3 different running backs tonight. Wakefield is back there now. And they keep it on the ground. And Wakefield is able to find 3 the hard way.
Notice all the lateral motion we're seeing from Vanderbilt wide receivers. The reason you do that is Vanderbilt wants to catch the eye of a Kentucky linebacker. Cash Daniel, Jordan Jones, very skilled, very instinctual linebackers. If you can cause them to hesitate, take 1 step laterally before they take a step towards the line of scrimmage, you might have just enough to get an extra yard, a little extra push for your offensive lineman.
Daniel sat out the first half of the A&M game after a targeting call against South Carolina. This is his first full game in 3 weeks. It's Wakefield again. This time he finds 4. Jamari Wakefield only had 32 yards last week against Florida. Redshirt sophomore from Jacksonville already has 38 yards tonight. Second possession for Vanderbilt. They got a short field thanks to a fumble recovery. 3rd down and 7.
Keep an eye on their tight end, Jared Pinkney, right there in the slot. Love him on 3rd downs.
Allen drops in coverage again. Deep. It is caught. Touchdown Vanderbilt and C.J. Buller. That's how you convert a 3rd down. A 29-yard touchdown strike.
What an answer to a delay of game. As an offense, sometimes you take a step back. You're a little bit defeated. And then you take a shot as Kyle Shurmur working with his true freshman C.J. Buller, a talented young wide receiver that I've been waiting to see really get going. That's a low percentage throw on 3rd down, but I love the aggressiveness by the senior quarterback in Shurmur, taking a shot and put it in the right spot.
Riley Gayon for the point after. And Vanderbilt got a mulligan on its opening drive. The fumble recovery gave a short field. Shurmur's 12th touchdown pass of the season, and the reaction from the senior. Elation early for Vandy. Long storied history between these programs dating back to their first meeting in 1896, but Kentucky didn't beat Vandy for the first time until 1939. That game in Nashville. Yeah, 43 years of Vanderbiltism, whatever that means. They've been playing annually since 1953, and the all-time series is only decided by a pair of games, 44-42-2 in favor of the Cats. Vandy won that first game 6-0. Didn't lose the first 17 games of the series. And Vanderbilt could absolutely ruin Kentucky's season with a win here tonight. I'd never heard that term before, Vanderbiltism. And Kentucky with a big return from Lynn. Last time Terry Wilson touched it, he ran for a first down, but then fumbled. And on the read, he'll hand it off to Benny Snell. There's room on the left side. And Snell with a stiff arm picked up a few more. He runs with an edge, maybe the best in the country at yards after contact. And it turns into a 15-yard gain.
You're going to see Bunchy Stallings coming around on the pull. He gets hit pretty hard, but that's all you got to do as an offensive lineman. Take up that defensive end. Let the running back get to the second level. I love the emphasis by Eddie Grant, the offensive coordinator here, of running the football early. Stick with it.
Bunchy Stallings, two-time SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week. Swing pass out to live football. Bowden couldn't get it, and Vandy's got its second takeaway. It's Jordan Griffin's second fumble recovery in the first 9 minutes. A disastrous start for Kentucky as Jason Tarver's defense receives a pair of gifts early.
Yeah, don't love the play call here. I said stick it on the ground. You've been running the football well. This is just not smart. You got to have that pass be forward if possible. As a quarterback, you want to try to back up to at least give the illusion. That is a bad way to start for Kentucky, giving Vandy the ball again in striking distance. Get the ball here, but Taven Richardson in the slot, his job is to block the most dangerous guy. And when this nickelback triggers, it's got to be him. You got to abort and block that guy, get a body on him as much as possible, because that creates a dangerous scenario where Bowden's getting hit on a pass that's going backwards.
So Allen George blew it up. Griffin took advantage of it, and the second straight short field for Kyle Shurmur and Vandy. Pressure on him, and he will fire it past the first down marker. Mark Stoops is wondering about grounding. Shurmur's already been flagged for it once tonight. Third possession of the night for Vandy. They're averaging better than 5 yards a play. And Shurmur has started 3 of 4. Jamari Wakefield. Buttoned up by Chris Western. And that's going to leave third down. Last third down they faced, they converted to the tune of a 29-yard touchdown pass.
And Kyle Shurmur and this offensive line are going to have to find number 41, Josh Allen. Third and long. Kentucky knows it's a passing situation. 41 has got to have at least 2 guys on it.
First time he's been in this series as well, guys.
He told us when he's in a 3-point stance, he knows he's coming. Shurmur fires, and it may have gotten hit coming out of his hand.
Some good pressure there by Josh Allen around the backside, but really it's the front side pressure. It's actually a pretty good job by Justin School, but the front side pressure constricts the pocket, and Shurmur doesn't have a clean look.
David Bouvier stands at his 10. Second punt of the night for Parker Tomey. Once again, Kentucky's line doesn't even move. And that ball is touchback. Well, that was close. It's really weird what Kentucky's doing with their punt defense. 38-yard punt and a touchback. That close. The last 15 years of college football, through 8 games, only one other team had scored on all 8 of their opening drives. That was Baylor in 2015 with Jarrett Stidham at the quarterback position.
I mean, not only does that tell you that Tua Tagovailoa is as good as advertised, but the coaching and the game plan that they come in to these conference games or any game with is just superior.
Here's Wilson, runs for the first down. Keeps his feet, and he's got the longest play of the night for UK. It's a 22-yard run.
We're going to talk about some of Kentucky's struggles throwing the football, but this is what helps Terry Wilson with his confidence when he does have to go throw the football. Running quarterbacks love to get in rhythm, love to get in the flow of the game by hitting a big run early.
Snell hit behind the line and finds a yard and a half. Darius Wiley on the stop. And that's how the quarter will come to an end. An ugly first quarter for Kentucky's offense, failing to move the ball and turning it over twice. The Commodores, winless in the SEC this season, looking to play the role of spoiler tonight. Through one quarter, they have a lead on first place Kentucky. Terry Wilson did not attempt to pass in the first quarter as Kentucky tried to establish the running game, but they coughed it up with a pair of fumbles to give Vandy short field a couple of times, and the Doors have a 7-0 lead as we start the second quarter. Snell through traffic, just flipping guys off of him. Gain of 5.
It's got to be the recipe for Kentucky. When you study Vandy, they wear down as the game goes on. You can continue to push the pace, run the football, even at times if it's just 1 or 2 yards. The reps, the number of plays starts to wear down on this Vanderbilt front.
He already has more carries in this first half than he did in the first half against A&M. Here's Snell. Gain of 9. Another tackle for the safety, Ladarius Wiley. And if Ladarius Wiley's making a ton of tackles, it's not a good sign for Vandy.
Yeah, he's great playing at the second level from that safety position, but you don't want to rely on your safety making tackles on Benny Snell, because that means linemen are getting up to the second level on the linebackers, and eventually there's none better than Benny Snell at yards after contact and breaking tackles.
Vandy shows pressure, play action. Wilson scrambles, no gain, and that's going to leave 3rd and 1.
Again, those are the type of throws you're going to see from Kentucky. Managed with bubble screens, screens to the running back, play action where you get him outside the pocket, 1 or 2 easy throws, and if it's not there, if you're Eddie Gran, just tell him to use your legs. Use your legs, get positive yards.
Kentucky 0 for 2 on 3rd down tonight. Benny Snell says, I love the Wildcat because I know what's going to happen. They know what's going to happen, and we're going to do it anyway. Benny Snell straight ahead. Somehow he bursts through the hole. I didn't even know there's a hole there. It's a gain of 5.
It was actually a pretty good job by Vandy on contain there from the outside, force that up the middle. See Birchmeyer there with taking on a double team, but that's why Kentucky's good, man. Benny Snell doesn't need there to be a hole. He really doesn't. He's patient enough to find one if there is one, but he's strong enough to run through and get you positive yards.
A steady diet of Benny Snell Jr. That time he picks up 3.
I can tell you guys, the wind's really picking up down here on the sideline. I don't know if Jordan, from a play calling perspective, you really think about that, pay attention to that, but as far as putting the football in the air, this wind is howling.
That's definitely something you think about, especially even going this direction, because the wind is at Kentucky's face. Some of those lateral throws to the bubble, that ball is going to be moving as it's traveling. It's going to be moving in the wrong direction. Don't want to throw it laterally and have it be another fumble. They go empty here.
Design draw, Wilson taken down, and taken down hard by Ladarius Wiley again. Gain of 4. Yeah, speaking of that wind, Cole, we expect wind gusts of up to 40 miles an hour at some point tonight.
I believe it. I felt it. You got all kind of debris flying around on the field. You take a look at that flag up by the scoreboard or the HD video board. I mean, it goes one direction, turns and goes another direction.
A wild weather day throughout college football. Snow in Big Ten country. Benny Snell has had touches on 5 of 7 plays on this drive. Make it 6 of 8 now.
Tackle by Griffin.
It is a first down. It took a moment for the officiating crew to signal it. Kentucky in the red zone this season has not thrown a single touchdown pass. All of their red zone touchdowns have come on the ground.
Yeah, and the Wildcat, you're going to see Terry Wilson motion out of the backfield, I think, here. They're going to go back to Wildcat.
Indeed. And Snell patiently grinds it for a gain of a couple.
That's the thing. You may know it's coming, but Terry Wilson's an athlete, so you have to account for him as a receiver. You take one guy off that field, now you're playing 10 on 10, and you have an extra hat to the point of attack in the line of scrimmage. So that's why they haven't had a ton of passing touchdowns, because they're so good at Wildcat. They're so good at running the football. They just keep doing that. The closer and closer they get to the red zone, excuse me, the end zone.
They're the only SEC team without a touchdown pass in the red zone.
You see it here again, Wildcat.
Benny Snell with the run. If you want to look at it from the glass half full, you can say, boy, how about the starts we've gotten off to? But just when they get into the meat of conference play, they run up against superior opponents, and they've had a hard time finishing things out. But a pair of 7-win seasons each of the last 2 years for Kentucky, and now trying to win the SEC East and make it to Atlanta for the first time in school history. Only one outright SEC title in Kentucky's football history. That was in 1950. Mark Stoops uses a timeout.
Timeout, Kentucky. First timeout of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Kentucky's looking for its first score of the game, facing a 3rd and 4. In graphic form, what a wild ride for Kentucky. 2014, they started 5-1. It came crashing down to a 5-7 finish. In 2015, similar start, a 4-1 beginning, and then 5-7. 2017, I should say, 5-1 start, finished 7-6, and now 5-0 to start the season. They sit at 5-1, but they'll be favored in a lot of their remaining games, save for Missouri and Georgia. But traditional tough opponents, Louisville and Tennessee, for example, are not having a great year. They'll be favored in both of those.
Yeah, and really what I need to see from this Kentucky team that we didn't see, for example, last year, was winning the close games at the end of the season. Like last week against Texas A&M, good teams find ways to win. Last year, 3 games decided by less than 3 points. They win those. It's a different season.
11th play of the drive. And they've gone to Benny Snell almost exclusively on this drive. 9 of the first 10 have been Benny Snell. To the air. To the end zone. Lynn Bowden with a touchdown catch. The first red zone touchdown pass of the season for the Cats.
Great job here of recognizing one-on-one coverage. That's Lynn Bowden, your most dynamic receiver, working on Frank Coppett, a safety. If you're Vandy, you'd rather have a corner there and one-on-one coverage. A safety is not as good in space traditionally, but Lynn Bowden is dynamic. It's a mismatch no matter who is lining up against him. Great ball by Terry Wilson.
That was the only pass of the drive. An 11-play drive that covers 48 yards, 10 runs, 1 pass, 1 score, and 1 number on the board. 7 all. Welcome back to SEC Saturday Night, presented by Holiday Inn Express. Lynn Bowden with a touchdown catch for Kentucky. Went away from their tendency by throwing it in the red zone, and it paid off for Terry Wilson, his 4th touchdown pass of the season. Jordan, they borrowed your dance moves.
Not quite as good as mine, but close.
The wind holds up the kick, and it's taken at the 9 and bobbled. It was a fair catch called for, and so that's where the ball will be down. Vandy backed up again, consecutive drives starting at their own 8. They went 3 and out last time. Shurmur facing a 4-man rush. Complete for a first down to Kalijah Lipscomb. That'll give him some room.
That's a name that we have called a few times, but they're going to need a whole lot more Kalijah Lipscomb. Talking to offensive coordinator Andy Ludwig, he said a focus this past week has been getting Shurmur and Lipscomb on the same page. Lipscomb's route depths, the timing of the drops for Shurmur when the ball's released, just haven't been on the same page. Only 6 receptions the last 2 games from a guy that at one point was leading the SEC.
Pocket collapsing. They set up the screen. This is Blasingame, and he's got plenty of room. Blasingame all the way to midfield before he's tripped up, and it's a 33-yard catch and run with a 5th-year senior from Huntsville, Alabama.
Hit a big screen last week as well. You can see Bruno Reagan, 61 there, big boy, who just moved from guard to center, really solidifying that offensive line, getting out in space. And that's a crucial block. Got to get a lineman on a secondary guy on the screen if you wanted to hit big.
Inefficient start for Kyle Shurmur, 7 of 9, but only 91 yards through the air, and of course most of them coming on that last screen pass. Blasingame. With it, the connection between Shurmur and Lipscomb is something that you can relate to, because when you were at Vandy, you had a favorite receiver, and sometimes you're saying when a guy knows that he's getting the ball on a regular basis, sometimes things change.
Yeah, when I had Jordan Matthews, it used to frustrate me as good as he was, because he'd see an opening in the defense and he'd cut his route a little short. He was so eager and so ready to get the ball, which is not a bad thing. But when you cut route depths, when you get too eager, you don't run the route as it's designed. Sometimes you run yourself into coverage, or you're ready for the ball and the quarterback's drop is not timed up. So those are the little things that go into a dynamic duo, quarterback and wide receiver, being successful. Got to stay patient, as hard as that is at sometimes as a receiver.
The patience leads to precision.
Absolutely.
Vandy's converted just 2 of 6 third downs. They've misfired on each of their last 4. 3rd down 3. Play clock at 2. Shurmur looking deep, will check it down, and it is incomplete. Coverage across the middle by who else? The do-everything man, Josh Allen.
It's just really not fair when you're that good at getting after the quarterback. At 6'5", 260 pounds, and you can drop back into coverage and break up a pass. This is just good. You saw, look at the eyes. That's his job right there. Get depth and then find the quarterback. Read the quarterback eyes, and he's going to lead you to the ball. Great job. It looks like a DB there, breaking up a pass.
NFL scouts sometimes come to campus to look at prospects like Josh Allen, and all they want to do is pick them apart and find something they're bad at. Kentucky coaches were telling us that the NFL scouts have yet to do that. They're here. They just can't find anything wrong with Josh Allen.
It's really hard. And if you're going to nitpick, you want to see a little more consistency and continued consistency against the run. But he gave Kentucky an opportunity now on offense to take the lead.
East, welcome back to SEC Saturday Night, presented by Holiday Inn Express. Kentucky's main weapon, Benny Snell, banged up to close the first half. We'll see if he can respond. If not, Terry Wilson may take the bulk of the offense on his shoulders. Meanwhile, Kyle Shurmur and Vandy scored early, but they've been quiet since. And with that, we welcome you back. Tom Hart alongside Jordan Rogers. The weather will continue to be an issue. The wind is an issue. If Benny Snell can't go, that will be a real issue for Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky hasn't been able to throw the ball. Hasn't really needed to. But if Benny Snell's not there, it's going to be A.J. Rose. And I think we're going to see a lot more of Terry Wilson running the football. He had the one fumble early where he didn't have quite the ball security they wanted, but they're going to continue to use his legs.
If you can flex like that, could you stop the wind?
It's bad, huh? That's one thing. Vandy's going to have to figure out which quarter, 3rd or 4th, they're going to have the wind so they can throw the football.
It'll be the 4th for Vandy with the win. Shurmur 10 of 13, an efficient start to the game, but only 103 yards through the air, including a touchdown. And Terry Wilson threw the first red zone touchdown pass of the season for Kentucky on a 3rd down for the lone score.
It's kind of ball game Kentucky wants. Keep it on the ground.
Squib kick handled at the 10-yard line. This is Bowden, and he's got a burst to the outside. Flag back at the 28. Bowden's got the sideline, and he will take it to the house for Lynn Bowden. A 90-yard return, but one lonely flag sits on the field back at the 28-yard line. And that piece of laundry will likely bring this one back.
During return, holding number 11 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty for the foul. First down.
First flag on Kentucky tonight, and it is a costly one.
Again, self-inflicted wounds. We saw the turnovers in the first half for Kentucky. That's really been the story of the game. They've dominated the ground, running the football effectively, but continue to hurt themselves with penalties and turnovers. How dynamic is he, though?
He's a game breaker. And so has Benny Snell been this season. And Snell got his knee twisted up on his last carry late in the second quarter. Did some extra stretching before coming on the field. Taven Richardson under the SEC logo, number 11.
First and 10.
Yeah, got his arms wrapped around the back. The defender there.
See how effective Snell is. Got his knee twisted up. And he'll carry it on first down and find 3 yards. Drew Birchmeyer, the tackle. Cole, what do you got?
Spoke to Vanderbilt head coach Derek Mason coming out of the tunnel, Tom. He said he feels pretty good about the execution defensively, wants better execution on offense. Said they're not going to change their game plan too much, not going to get away from what they're doing. He said we just need to be better and we need to execute at a different level and take advantage of turnovers, turning them into points.
2 turnovers for Kentucky in the first quarter. Left Vandy with a short field multiple times. On 2nd and 7, Wilson to the air. And it is batted down by George Griffin. Let's get to the studio. Here's Dari.
Griffin on the fast breakup. There's a penalty marker down.
Wow. That would be upset central. Ohio State through the first 7 games, scoring 26 points a game in the half. Tonight with 3.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Offense number 73. Penalties decline. Third down.
Third and 7 at 42.
Defensive coordinator Jason Tarver next to his boss and longtime friend Derek Mason. Tarver even lived in the garage above Mason's, or lived in the apartment above Mason's garage this summer before he found his place in Nashville. See if the defense can stand up again. 4-man rush. Wilson, deep ball with the wind. It is batted down, incomplete. Donovan Sheffield with the coverage on Dorian Baker.
Had his receiver. You can see it from here. Probably won't be able to see it on TV. The wind started to pull that one away from Terry Wilson, trying to lead his receiver downfield. And you can see that ball, because of the wind, carrying back towards the right behind Dorian Baker. A tough catch there. And in the wind again, got to try to keep a low trajectory. Account for that wind like a golfer, I guess, if you can.
Yeah.
But that's tough to do, pushing the ball that far downfield.
Trey Ellis back to receive. Ellis out past the 40. What is it? Here's Wakefield straight up the middle, and he gets dragged down by his jersey. Gain of 7. So here's what's left for the 3 contenders in the East. Florida and Georgia meeting Jacksonville for their next game. The Dogs still have to come here and at home against Auburn. Florida's got Georgia, Missouri, South Carolina, and Kentucky with 2 of their last 3 on the road.
Yeah, and I think Cole agrees with me. That Missouri game right there, that's one with this game that we have in front of us where Kentucky needs to prove that they are ready to take that next step, compete with or beat Georgia, and make a run at the SEC East.
Mizzou hung 65 on Memphis today. Shurmur into the wind, a wobbler that's picked off. Derek Beatty has the interception. Flag on the play. Beatty out of bounds, just shy of the 40. Shurmur throwing into the teeth of a wind that has gusted to 40 miles an hour tonight.
Holding against an eligible receiver, number 8, the defense. 10-yard penalty for previous stop. Automatic first down.
Only 2 flags against Kentucky tonight, but both of them have been backbreakers. One wiped out a 90-yard kickoff return for a score, and this one takes a pick off the board.
Look at that ball just get knocked down. Shurmur had Lipscomb, had a step.
You got that as PI?
No. Is that the hold? Is that that's what they said?
Yep.
Man, I don't see that.
I'm with you, Jordan. That ball came right at me here on the sideline. The wind just annihilated that football.
I do not see a hold there. You're going to always have some hand fighting, but to me, there was not enough there.
New lease on the drive for Vandy. Wakefield bounced off one guy before he got swallowed up by Josh Allen.
Kentucky fans not happy about it either as the boos echo here.
Wakefield, the leading rusher for Vanderbilt tonight. Remember, they're without Keyshawn Vaughn. Forced out of bounds after a gain of 4. Missed opportunities and messed up plays for Kentucky. They fumbled on the first 2 drives in the holding penalty and then defensive holding to wipe away a pick.
Again, as we saw 2 weeks ago with Texas A&M, Kentucky is starting to realize that they have the talent. When they don't play their best, they still have a chance to win. You look up at the scoreboard, it's 7-7. You have given Vanderbilt every opportunity to make this a 2-touchdown game at times, and you're still in this. Another opportunity here on 3rd down to bow up for this Kentucky defense.
Vandy's missed on its last 6 third-down conversions. Shurmur into the wind again, complete to his tight end Jared Pinkney, and he's got it in the red zone on the first catch of the night for Pinkney.
That is a great job by both Kyle Shurmur on being patient, climbing up in the pocket, and Jared Pinkney of finding that void in the zone. And Kentucky loves zone coverage. You see those underneath linebackers are reading Shurmur's eyes. Cash Daniel there gets fooled by Shurmur's eyes, cuts inside, and that opens up that small window for Jared Pinkney.
Shurmur 11 of 14 tonight. Here's Josh Crawford. Talked about Kentucky being unbalanced in the red zone. Vanderbilt has been perfectly balanced. 14 red zone touchdowns, 7 rushing touchdowns, 7 passing touchdowns. And if you compare that to the rest of the SEC, no one else is close to 50%. It shows their reliance on Shurmur's arm.
Yeah, I mean, he's a senior quarterback. He's a coach's kid. A lot of what they do in the red zone is the alerts, right? So if you have a favorable matchup on the outside, you call 2 plays in the huddle. Shurmur can alert it to the pass play, or if you can run the football, you're going to do it against a light box. That's why they're so balanced, calling 2 plays in the huddle, letting their senior quarterback sort it out.
Backwards pass and a swing to Lipscomb. And Lipscomb gets hit by Edwards and then stood up and brought down for a loss of 2.
But I tell you guys, Mike Edwards has been so effective near the line of scrimmage for this Matt House defense the last couple weeks. Really loves to come up and play the run. They've seen him flashing him near the line of scrimmage in this game in run support there on a quick pass. Essentially a run through the air coming up to make the stop.
Exactly a run through the air since that one was backwards. Mike Edwards likes to model his game after the Honey Badger. That's why he wears number 7. Opportunity here on 3rd and 9. Shurmur. End zone shot. Too strong. Trying to find Pinkney.
Boy, had Pinkney. And Tom, that's just the difficulty for a quarterback of throwing in the wind. We saw an earlier pass by Shurmur get eaten up when he put air on it. So he tries to lower his trajectory, drive the ball, but sometimes you overcompensate. That's how the wind can mess with you. See how he throws this ball. Just too much juice, thinking the wind's going to knock it down like it did last time.
31-yard attempt for Riley Gay. He was 2 of 3 against Florida last week. He missed a chip shot, but he hit 2 long ones. This one will stay left. Never had the upright. And a missed field goal leaves us tied. Vandy fails to cash in a driving wind. Doors 7, Cats 7. 9:33 to go in the third. On first down, straight handoff to A.J. Rose. Jordan Griffin has a pair of fumble recoveries in this game and on the tackle.
What a big role Jordan Griffin is playing today. He's trying to fill that void of Zach Cunningham. Moving on to the NFL, he's got a high football IQ, but like we saw, C.J. Conrad in that sniff position, the Wildcat, he's got a lot of responsibility of IDing these quote-unquote funny formations, as Jason Tarver will call them, and getting his guys aligned correctly.
Remember, Benny Snell got his knee twisted up on his final carry of the second quarter. We saw him start this half, but it's A.J. Rose on this possession, and he loses a couple of yards. Well, as great as A.J. Rose is coming off the bench, you lose a little something when you lose Benny Snell. The value of the replacement player when you take Benny Snell out of the game is huge.
And we've seen him in and out within this same drive, which tells me they don't feel he's 100%. Otherwise, they keep him in usually from the start of drive to the end of a drive unless he has a big run and needs a breather.
Third down 11. Vandy trying to move guys around. Here comes a blitz. And it is a slant caught by Bowden, and he's got a first down depending on the spot. Close. First down, Kentucky.
That's a great job by Terry Wilson, standing calm and confidently and delivering a strike. I mean, it's just a slant route, but these are the type of routes that Terry Wilson's been a little inconsistent on at times. Maybe not as inconsistent sometimes at the accuracy, but knowing where to go with the ball and then delivering it on time.
Rose again. They flip it to Bowden. Turning the corner. Nothing but green in front of him. Bowden stuck at midfield as the block was lost by Baker. Donovan Sheffield fought it off. 12-yard gain.
We saw the touchdown catch earlier by Bowden. You see the reverse here. They got to find ways to get this guy the ball. He's the best playmaker on the field, especially with no Benny Snell. Leading wide receiver, an Ohio kid, a Youngstown recruit, as we see a lot of Youngstown guys, Ohio guys littering this Kentucky roster.
That's the pipeline. Second and inches. And here's a good indication that Snell's not 100%. They stick with Rose when they need less than a yard. This would be automatic Benny Snell territory any other time. Rose, by any other name, still picks up a first down. Ladarius Wiley to stop, a gain of 5.
Phillips, Benny Snell is trailing Eddie Gran and Mark Stoops, not necessarily right up behind them, seemingly politicking for more playing time, just kind of floating behind the coaching staff there, kind of overseeing a little bit.
It's Rose for now. Snell 17 carries and 76 yards. Here's the 10th play of the drive for Kentucky. Terry Wilson breaks free, and Wilson deep into Vandy territory on a 23-yard run. How about that Kentucky O-line?
Yeah, how about pulling the backside tackle? You oftentimes see a backside guard pull. And yeah, Logan Stenberg pulls, but the left tackle, E.J. Price, pulls from all the way on the left side with a great lead block. And that's what we're going to see out of Terry Wilson, especially in the elements of what tonight brings with the wind and the cold. We're going to see Kentucky use his legs.
Wilson found it. Third time they put the ball on the ground tonight. They lost the first 2.
The snap location's good there. but not a ton of juice on the ball. Sometimes for a quarterback, like a firm snap. Those soft tosses are tough to catch sometimes.
So they lose 5 yards, 2nd and 15. 12th play of the drive. To the slant again, and that one was maybe a hair behind, and the Kentucky faithful wanted early contact from Alan George.
Just an inaccurate throw. It's the right decision. Got man coverage, so go to the side with 2 slants. Trying to work David Bouvier in the slot. Inaccurate ball, and actually a good timing play by Alan George there in the secondary.
Benny Snell back in the game for Kentucky on 3rd and 15. He's the lead blocker for Terry Wilson. And not much there. They tried to stand up Wilson and strip him. Forward progress finally stops the play after a gain of 6. We saw the appreciation for Wilson right after that, patting Benny Snell on the back. Thanks for the blocking, big guy. They're going to bring on Miles Butler. The kicking game has been an adventure for Mark Stoops. They've got a freshman, Chance Poore, who they'd like to use and preserve his redshirt if possible. This will be a 39-yarder for Butler. He missed from 43 in overtime against A&M. They came up a football short on that one. This one will stay right. And both kickers have missed makeable kicks in the last couple possessions. Miles Butler wide right from 39. The defensive battle continues. A heavyweight fight here in Lexington. Vandy 7, Kentucky 7 as the Commodores look to snap a 6-game losing streak to top 25 opponents. Shurmur, pocket collapsing, stops, plants, throws, deep, caught! First down, Vandy, C.J. Bowler. A 48-yard gain for Vanderbilt.
And just an unbelievable throw, as I mentioned, straight into the wind. Shurmur does a great job of extending the play, getting outside the pocket. Really could have taken off and run here as he's trying to work Pinckney. Look at the throw. Little wobble, that's okay. He got a lot of wind down there. That mouthpiece, who needs it? That's like a fadeaway. That's one of those threes you take and you just start retreating because you know it's in. He threw that one and he liked it.
I don't think his mouthpiece has been all the way into his mouth all night.
Not once.
Come near the end of the 3rd quarter. Javion Marlowe, freshman running back with his 2nd carry of the night. That one goes for 6. Remember, both kickers have struggled in this win tonight.
And if I'm Vandy, let this one run out. Go to the 4th quarter.
Get the win.
Get the wind. That's right. It's better for the kicking game. And obviously, Shurmur dropped a dime right there, but he's going to like throwing with the wind at his back.
He missed a 27-yard last week, did Riley Gay, and a 31-yarder tonight. So on a day where the best teams have had to struggle to pull out wins, Kentucky has its back against the wall. Vandy threatening as we go to the 4th. Kroger Field, Lexington, Kentucky. Number 14, Kentucky has its back against the wall against Vanderbilt, looking for its first conference win of the season. This is Jamari Wakefield. And he is brought down just shy of the line to gain. It's going to leave 3rd and a very short one.
4-down territory for Vandy here. They're going quick to the huddle, quick to the line of scrimmage, excuse me.
Quarterback sneak. Nope. Shurmur hands it off, and Kentucky's defense stands tall. They stone Shurmur Wakefield and throw him back for a loss of 1. And remember, the kicking game inconsistent.
Tell you what, Cordell Looney right here gets vertical penetration. He really makes the play right here. Penetration gets Wakefield back inside, and the linebackers rally for the tackle.
They're going to leave the offense on the field facing 4th and 1. They're 6 of 12 on 4th downs this season. Remember, Kyle Gay, their kicker, missed from 31 yards on the last possession for Vandy. 4th and 1. Shurmur under center with Wakefield behind him. Kentucky has loaded the box. Same play, same result, but the ball came out. Kentucky was going to turn over him on downs anyway. Quinn Bohanna finds the fumble.
And Bohanna with the fumble recovery, but even more importantly, he blew this play up from the start. The 6'4", 340-pound sophomore right here is going to come across the face of the center and blow this play up. Look at it, not even across the face. He puts the center into Wakefield. And then, oh yeah, he picks up the ball as well. That is a huge play by a mountain of a man.
Bohanna hasn't put up big numbers this season, but the sophomore from Cordova, Tennessee, with perhaps a play of the game. It means that Vanderbilt is 0 for 2 in the red zone here in the second half.
And this is one thing that Kentucky teams have passed. Mark Stoops has said they haven't had the girth, the size up front to compete week in and week out down the stretch with the bigger teams in the SEC. And Vandy's not one of those, but having a guy like Quentin Bohanna down there at nose guard that's as athletic and disruptive as he is at 340, that's a different Kentucky look than we've seen in years past.
With 4 wide to the left, they run Benny Snell to the right. And Snell will churn his way to a gain of 5.
Got to get something going here, Tom. Snell, to me, still doesn't quite look 100%. Doesn't mean he can't be out there and still give you a lot. But Terry Wilson has got to make some plays with his feet. Going into the wind now, throwing the football is going to be tough.
Kentucky has run 45 plays tonight. 36 of them have been runs. Third down 4. Snell, first down, plenty more, and Snell lowers his shoulder to take it up to the 48-yard line. Kentucky hadn't converted a third down in the 4th quarter since week 2 at Florida.
To see him run to the A-gap right here, and Jordan Griffin, the Mike linebacker, should be filling, but he picks the wrong side and leaves a wide open A-gap for Benny Snell. Even at not 100%, he's going to make you pay for that.
Fresh set of downs for Terry Wilson. And Wilson will keep this one. It's tripped up by Dimitri Moore. Still turns into a gain of 4. You referenced this early. Let's go back to it. Mark Stoops talked about the fact that they didn't play well enough to win at Texas A&M last time out. I said, yes, but isn't that the sign of a now great team that you had a chance to win when you did not play well?
Yeah, and now the next sign of a team that can compete for SEC championships, not just be a good team as Kentucky's been, is winning these games late. These games against a gritty opponent like Vanderbilt that you should win big, you find yourself in adversity, good teams that are ready to take the next step close out games like this.
Nevertheless, we move on, and Snell keeps trucking. 11 yards on the gain for Benny Snell.
One thing we know about Benny Snell, Tom, is when is he at his best? Running the football. Late, and when he's a little bit angry.
Yes.
So you rile him up, he's already got a big chip on his shoulder. He doesn't need it. But you get him amped up, riled up, he's going to run the football even better.
Last 3 touches for Snell have gone for 22, 10, and 11 yards respectively. Put it on repeat. Snell spins his way for a couple. Dimitri Moore and Alan George in on the stop.
Starting to become reminiscent of that final offensive drive against Ole Miss last year, guys. Over 90 yards when Benny Snell, I think, had 14 carries on the drive. Just took over, put the team on his shoulders. Now, they couldn't close that game out, but he thrives in positions and drives like this.
He's at 128 right now. Benny Snell again. By the way, LSU leads Mississippi State late in the fourth quarter, 19-3. LSU's a team that will get discussion and lots of it for the college football playoff. And Ohio State still trailing on the road at Purdue.
LSU 3 top 10 wins. Looks like they're going to close out number 22 Mississippi State as well. One thing I'd keep watching here, Vandy is starting to add an extra nickel back to the box. So at some point, Terry Wilson's going to have an opportunity to pull it on an RPO and throw it to the outside if they want to take that risk. Right now, I'd keep it on the ground.
Benny Snell runs. And that's going to set up 4th and inches. Miles Butler missed from 34 last time.
Lynn Bowden looking right at Mark Stoops on the sideline, saying, run it back. Let's go.
Benny Snell, well, it seems pretty simple. You could use him a lot of different ways, right? I mean, we know that you can just run him straight ahead. You could run him in the Wildcat. And one thing that we don't think Eddie Grant's going to do tonight is get too cute.
No.
So this will be the 10th play of the drive. C.J. Conrad, the tight end, in the H-back position. And Terry Wilson out of the pistol. They want to throw. Everything's covered, so Wilson will take off. It's a gain of 2.
Love the decision. And that's something that Eddie Grant on the sideline probably spoke with his quarterback. If it's not there, run.
Okay, you love the decision, but how do you feel about the play call?
Yeah, don't love the play call. On a first down, I'd keep running.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pass until you feel you have to. But in that case, good decision by Wilson, not forcing a throw that wasn't there.
Wilson is just 3 of 9 through the air tonight. Benny Snell. I mean, why stop? Can't stop him. It's another first down run.
Fellas, how about the fact they're doing this behind some number 2s up on the offensive line? Darren Kennard's in at left tackle. You got Mason Wolf in the game. Luke Fortner's in the game. 3 second-team offensive linemen helping out on this drive.
I think a lot about Kennard, the freshman from Knoxville by way of St. Ignatius High School, that power program in Ohio. 6'5", 357 at right tackle.
You're going to get a run off right here.
Snell. Snell you later. Touchdown, Kentucky. Benny Snell has a $150 and a score on 27 carries tonight, and he's given Kentucky its first lead of the evening.
So much for a banged up knee, huh? He looked pretty good on that drive, and credit to Eddie Grant right there, giving his running back some love for sticking to the ground game.
Point after goes through. That was a 12-play, 80-yard drive. Benny Snell had 10 rushes and accounted for 74 of the 80 yards. It started with a 4th down stop and a fumble recovery, and Kentucky has a touchdown lead with 8:04 to go in the 4th in the Commonwealth. But Jones enjoyed a post-game cigar in the visitors' locker room at Neyland today.
Who did?
Yeah. The intern.
I bet he did.
Short kick. Knocked down at the 24-yard line. Let's see. They run right towards him. Fantastic vision by Jamari Wakefield. Then he gets 7 yards back after the penalty.
You know, it's interesting, guys. I talked to offensive line coach Cam Norcross before the game, Vanderbilt offensive line coach, and asked him how they would handle Allen. He said, we don't change what we do. We don't have a specific scheme for him. We're not going to make sure we have a back or a tight end to him. We do what we do. We play our game. I thought it was a little bit odd, but I respect the fact that they're going to stick with what they believe in.
Yeah,
I'm kind of scratching my head.
I am too. I'm thinking they've chipped him a couple times, but just doesn't seem like a smart game plan if that is true to me.
Speed rush again from Allen. Shurmur, man coverage outside, incomplete. Trying to find C.J. Bowler.
I'll say this, Jordan. Part of that falls on Andy Ludwig, because the offensive line coach can't say, hey, make sure we got a tight end or a running back to 41. That's on the OC. So I understand where Norcross is coming from, saying there's not a lot that I can do with my guys to specifically go out and double somebody. A lot of people who think that you can scheme a double team for an individual player in a game with just your front five, it's not really true. Can't do that at the collegiate level.
They got a back on Allen's side this time.
3rd down 13. Shurmur over the middle, batted away. Tremendous play by Devontae Robinson.
Tremendous is right. Shurmur looking for Pinckney. Kentucky in a 2 safety shell there, so they're trying to attack the middle of the field. Ball's a little behind, but that's just a really, really good defensive play there by Robinson to break that up.
So with 6 minutes to go, Vandy forced to punt it away. David Bouvier stands back at his 24. Vandy will rely on its defense now to get the ball back. Not a great punt. Bouvier comes all the way up to the 31 for the fair catch. A 36-yard punt. Field position, not the biggest issue. The clock is what Vandy's got to deal with. Oh yeah, that and Benny Snell. Benny Snell's 9th rushing touchdown of the season gave Kentucky its first lead. They've leaned on to the tune of 27 carries on an evening that it seems like Benny Snell doesn't have his best stuff in terms of health. Banged up at the end of the first half. 56 plays for Kentucky tonight. 47 runs.
And still Mason Wolf, Luke Fortner, and Darian Kennard, 3 reserve O linemen still in for Kentucky right now.
I think this is just Mark Schlerman highly confident in some of his second team guys, and he saw what they did on that previous drive. Mowed right down the field, stay with the hot hands, keep it rolling.
Offensive line coach John Schlarman dealing with cancer, fighting that through chemotherapy treatments, and hasn't missed a single practice working with those big guys up front. And they are big, and it's a change for Kentucky. This is now an SEC-sized offensive line, paving the way for Benny Snell, and Snell will take a few yards on his own as well. That's a gain of 7. And he carried a 300-pounder on his back for the last 4 of those.
5 minutes left, clock running. Vandy has got to find a way. Got to find a way not only to bring Benny Snell down when you have an opportunity, as you do several times on just that last run. Got to find a way to disrupt the line of scrimmage, even that if that means selling all out. And as you see right here, no safeties, going man coverage and loading the box. That's what you got to do against Wildcat.
So this will be the 30th carry of the night for Snell, lined up in the Wildcat. And let's get you to the studio, Dari.
Benny Snell Jr.
Wow.
Only the best inside linebacker in college football.
Yeah, his speed, athleticism, that's what, I mean, their secondary makes that team go as well, but Devin White is the glue to that defense. That's a big loss.
On 2nd and 7, Benny Snell, gain of 3.
Benny Snell Jr. on the carry.
3.5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Benny Snell has 31 carries for 167 yards tonight.
Look at the width that these Kentucky receivers have at the bottom of your screen. Kentucky making this An 8-man ball game. Taking 3 Vandy defenders out of this.
Jordan Vandy pretty much going cover 0. No safeties deep at all.
Yeah, love it. I mean, that's what you have to do. You know that Kentucky doesn't want to throw the football, let alone into the wind. They want to run the ball. You got to sell out. Force a 4th and short here, and a decision for Mark Stoops in Kentucky.
Vandy only has 1 timeout left. Got to punt it away. And they will.
Make Vandy go the length of the field.
Play clock is already at 7 seconds. Kentucky will hustle to the line and try to preserve a timeout. And they just do. No return for Vanderbilt. And they'll have 2 minutes and 10 seconds to try to drive nearly the length of the field for a game-tying score. The deck is stacked against Kyle Shurmur. Can he pull out an ace? It's turned into quite a home field advantage for Kentucky, and if they can finish this one out and get Missouri, this place, as the kids say, is going to be lit when Georgia comes to town.
Just over 2 minutes, 1 timeout here for Vandy. Gotta have a great sense of urgency and get out of bounds if possible.
Shurmur over the middle. Incomplete. Trying to fit it into Pinckney. 2:05 to go.
That's a route combination they've come to 3 or 4 times tonight. They send Kalijah Lipscomb on a drag route. Pinckney straight up on a 10-yard stick. Hit it a couple times. That one, good ball, just a drop by Pinckney.
Shurmur finds Pinckney that time, and he's able to get out of bounds. A first down for Vandy, and the clock stops at 1:57.
Another great example. Kyle Shurmur playing like a senior. Pressure's on. Step up in the pocket. Keep your eyes downfield. Look when he throws that ball. Pinckney is on the other side of Mike Edwards. Great anticipation and great job extending the play there.
Balance attack tonight for Vandy. 50 plays, 29 on the ground, 21 through the air. 4-man rush. Shurmur pressure, goes down. Jamar Watson with the sack for Kentucky. Boogie Watson comes up with a 4th straight game with a sack. Clock running, 1:37. Second and forever for Vandy. 4-man rush again. Shurmur. What a grab. Fantastic hands by Donovan Tennyson. A first down for the Doors.
Wow. A risky throw. Tries to put this one on Tennyson's back hip into cover 2, a corner. That's a great catch. Thought it might have hit the ground there at the end, but it did not.
Another 4-man rush. Shurmur over the middle. That one didn't have a chance. Tipped coming out of his hand. Edwards looked shaken up for the Cats.
And honestly, that's a good thing that ball was tipped. Edwards was in perfect position here. Phil Hoskins getting his hands up there. And Darius West comes in and collides with Mike Edwards here at the end of this. That's what Edwards is a little shaken up for, but good thing that was tipped. Otherwise, that could have been an interception.
Edwards stays in the game. Line up at the logo. Shurmur pressured again. Lost the football into Edwards' hands. And Kentucky's going to salt away a comeback victory at home.
And who else, Tom? Josh Allen.
terrorized by Josh Allen all night. Allen's strip sack puts the ball into the hands of the Cats, and Derek Mason's team will have missed out on 3 what would have been signature wins at Notre Dame, at home against Florida, and now on the road against Kentucky. And the Cats remain in the race for the SEC East Division crown.
These are the type of games that I needed to see Kentucky pull out. Needed to see them find a way to win in a hostile environment. I know this is at home, but last 2 weeks ago against Texas A&M, didn't get it done late in the game. Both sides of the ball, running the football behind Benny Snell and getting after the quarterback behind Josh Allen. This team found a way to win.
Victory formation for the Cats. Another fourth quarter sack for Josh Allen, who was injured but walked off the field on his own. That means that for Allen, his second sack of the night, and 3/4 of his sacks this season have come in the fourth. He and Benny Snell are at their best late in the game.
Yeah, you want your best players to be good, but if they're that good in the fourth quarter, you know you got something special. Benny Snell banged up, fought through a knee injury, whether it's significant or not. He was his best late in the game, and Josh Allen has been spectacular all season late in the game.
Shurmur finishes with 15 completions. Snell finishes with 32 carries. A bell cow for Kentucky, and Mark Stoops has taken his team to 6-1. He's with Cole.
Coach Stoops, you take your first lead with 8:04 left in this game. What did you learn about your football team tonight?
Well, I love the way we put that drive together. Obviously, it was a struggle all night to move the football. Really appreciate the way our offense grinded it out, put one drive together, was very physical and ran the ball very effectively and got it in the end zone.
Coach, this is a team sport. Benny Snell takes over offensively there in the fourth quarter. Josh Allen does what he does again in the fourth quarter. What more can you say just about those two individuals?
I just really appreciate their effort. There's no doubt those are our guys. They're our leaders. We had to ride Benny on that drive, and in 2 minutes, that's what Josh does. You know, he's hard to block, and he's been a terrific player for us all year.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Tom, back to you.
All right, Cole, thanks. It really is amazing the way Benny Snell is able to work. That last drive that gave Kentucky the lead, he carried the ball in 10 of the 12 plays. He accounted for 74 of the 80 yards.
Yeah, in a game where you only had 3 completions in the SEC, a hard-fought game, to be able to ride Benny Snell like that, that's big.
We got plenty more coming your way from Lexington, but first we want to get you to the gang in the studio. A lot to talk about. Dari, Chiz, and Doring, it's yours for now.